Hi, in this video we are going to look at the anatomy of the ear. So here we draw one side ear and then label and then show the middle ear and the inner ear. So here's the auricle and here's a tube. It is external auditory meatus. And here is a membrane. It's called the tympanic membrane. And the tympanic membrane has attachment to a bone on the inner side. So here is the tympanic membrane that divides the external and the medial ear. So here is another bone called the malleus. It is attached to the tympanic membrane on the medial side of this membrane. So here is a bone that makes joint with the malleus is called the incus here, and the incus makes joint on the back with the stapes. So these three bones are called the ossicular bones or ossicular chain of bones in the middle ear, and the stapes has a foot process which it puts in the oval window. So here is the oval window in the medial wall of the middle ear, and here is the bulge in the middle wall which is called promontory, and here is the round window. So if we look at promontory here's the promontory. It's the medial wall of the middle ear, and here's the round window. And if we make the roof of the middle ear, this is the roof, and behind here it has a bony structure, and when this bony structure thins out, it becomes thin at the top of the middle ear. It makes the roof of the middle ear. It's called tegmen tympani. Now, if we take this and go back here, behind the inner ear, here is the internal auditory canal through which the 7th and 8th cranial nerve passes. So if we make the inner ear, and within which, here is the inner ear, within which the cochlear and vestibule lay. So here is the fats, and under the external auditory canal and the middle ear there is a bony structure within which there is a fossa called internal jugular fossa. So here is the parotid gland lateral to the jugular vein. Here is the parotid gland, and medial to the parotid gland here is this fossa within which the internal jugular vein passes. So here is the internal jugular vein, and it's in the internal jugular fossa. Here is this long tube from the middle ear which passes in the interior wall called the Eustachian tube or the pharyngotympanic tube because it opens in the pharynx from the middle ear. So we look at the facial nerve here. It passes all the way and reaches the middle wall of the middle ear, and it enters the facial canal. So here is the swelling or bulge of facial canal in the middle ear. So when the lateral semicircular canal makes a bulge in the medial wall of the middle ear called the prominence of the lateral semicircular canal. Now let's look at the anatomy of the inner ear. So in the inner ear we have the bony structure called the cochlea, and then there is the bony structure called the vestibule. Now within the vestibule there are saccule and utricle, but within the cochlear bony structure. So here is the cochlear bony structure within which there is the cochlear duct and spiral organ, and within there is the organ of Corti which help us to hear, right? So here in the green I draw the cochlear duct, and the cochlear duct has the endolymph. So if we label these areas, this is the helicotrema, the center, the spiral region, and here is the spiral organ or the cochlear duct with spiral organ. Here is the scala vestibuli, here is the scala tympani, and this cochlear duct is connected to the saccule and the utricle, and then the ampulla here, another ampulla here with the semicircular ducts. It has lateral, posterior, and medial semicircular ducts. So here's the saccule, the utricle, the ampulla, and the semicircular ducts. and this is in the bony structure of vestibule. Now this is the anatomy of the middle, inner, and external ear. Now let's look at the middle ear in detail. It has the different walls, the lateral wall here, the roof here, and the medial wall here, the interior wall here, and the floor. It has the different structures in these walls. If you throw a light in a person's ear, and you will see a tympanic membrane, which is the lateral wall of the middle ear. And here I draw and show the different structures that you will see on the tympanic membrane. So the lower part of the tympanic membrane is tense within the bony structure, and the upper part is loose, called the pars flaccida. The lower part is called pars tensa, and there is the handle of Milius. So here, and then there is a fold, the interior and posterior folds of Milius, and cone of light. So this is the lateral wall and its structures. The roof has just thin bony structure. And now let's look at the medial wall of the middle ear. Now if we draw here the medial wall of the middle ear, here is the promontory, and the promontory has different fibers which form the tympanic plexus, which are the neuronal fibers. And here is the oval window, and then there is the round window here, and it has the facial canal, which is a swelling in the middle ear, and then you have the prominence of the lateral semicircular canal in the middle ear. Now here is also a cochleaformis process for the tendon of tensor tympani muscle. And if we draw here the posterior wall, here is the posterior wall. It has auditus. Auditus is an opening into the mastoid antrum. So here is the mastoid antrum. And here's the facial canal coming in the posterior wall and going down to the floor of the middle ear. And here is a fossa where the lateral part of the Milius is attached to, called the fossa incutus. And then here is the posterior canaliculus, through which the chorda tympani nerve passes. And if we look at the interior wall here, it has the long tube, the Eustachian tube, and it has another canal for the muscle, tensor tympani muscle here, and it has a tendon that goes in, and it holds the handle of the Milius and make the tympanic membrane tense when stimulated. So here are the canaliculi, the superior and inferior. And then we look at the floor of the middle ear. There is the internal jugular vein. With internal jugular vein, there are 9, 10, 11 cranial nerve passes through here as well. So this is all about the anatomy of the ear, the vestibular and cochlear system we will discuss in other video.